Happy Father's Day, everyone. So coming to you live from Sedona here. If you don't know me, my name is Miles. And for those of you that do know me, you may know me as a different version of myself. And that's because we just moved to Sedona a few months ago, and it was to do more of this. It was to be able to hike outside in the wild, get connected to the land. And I used to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, not to go for a hike, but to get ready for the day at the office and go prepare to be a dentist, etc. And the dentist is still someone that's a part of me, and there's still ways that I am able to highlight that and utilize that skill set, but it's not the only aspect of me. And really, my story is a story of becoming and unbecoming all at the same time. I'm 35 years old. My family just relocated here from New Jersey. Born and raised in Jersey, lived there for 35 years, and never really branched out of the box. Just kind of did what I was told to do. Very much the mama's boy when I was younger, very much a good boy, wanting to be perfect, not cause any trouble. Really largely lived a life of conditioning, a life of feeling like I needed to be a certain way for people to approve of me based on certain life experiences. I've been bullied at multiple stages of my life: 4th grade, 6th grade, 9th grade, junior year of high school. I transferred to high school because of it. And then even in dental school, and then in my first men's group at 30 years old. So I've had a bullying streak my entire life, and I never understood what it was. And now I know is actually related to this aspect of shining your light, right? Being the authentic self, not dimming yourself for other people. And that's something that I really struggled with because I allowed other people to dim my light and to hold me back from fully expressing because of the danger that I experienced with the bullying, with the way that people, in essence, targeted me. And it's been a difficult thing. Look at the scenery here. That's Coffee Pot Rock right there. It's been a difficult thing for me to step out of the shell that I had created for protection and to step into the true me. Yet, like I said before, my story is one of unbecoming and becoming, and it's the unbecoming of everything that society conditioned me to be, and it's the becoming of everything that I was born to be. And as I've been here in Sedona, it's been a difficult process in regards to get comfortable with all the new, in the sense that I'm so used to the go, 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 the grind, the hustle, generating at super pace. And yet now I find myself in more slowness and space than ever before. And it's actually been uncomfortable because I have not been accustomed to having this much room to feel, express, and explore. And there's this drive in me that feels like I need to be producing, and that busyness is something that keeps me feeling comfortable because that's what I know. Whether it's a cultural piece, like an Italian thing, a Northeast piece, a regional thing, or if it's just my family, but the conditioning I received where I lived and with whom I lived was one of that you do not slow down. You don't take space. It's just on to the next thing. And I've approached my life that way my entire life. I've been a massively high achiever. And, whether it's being college baseball captain or graduating from dental school and becoming a dentist or, just excelling at every level of education and never causing an issue. I've never gotten in trouble. I've always been that person that's been, I just did things right. And now it's actually the opposite. I'm going through this process of rewiring all that I am, and the old Miles isn't here anymore. And for those of you that don't know me, when did this journey start, right? And for me, it really started about 5-6 years ago when the inner work journey started for me. I discovered men's work. I had no idea what it was, but I saw it and I said, holy cow, this needs to be a part of my life. I joined a group of men that were all 10, 15 years older than me. I was 30 years old at the time. It was my first big investment, $10,000 for the year. I was totally scared. I had no idea what I was about to get into, but something inside me told me there's something more. There's something that I needed to reach for. That the life I was living right now was like, if this is it, you know, I graduated dental school at 27 years old, went to my residency, and then I started working in private practice, and I was working on growing the business, and the business was flourishing. That business went from 900,000 to 3.5 million in like 5 years. It was a lot of fun growing it, yet at the same point I sat there saying, is this all there is to life? And that was a scary thought because I had committed my entire life to being one of the highest achievers I possibly could be, going to one of the best colleges in the country in Swarthmore College, playing baseball at a high level, achieving academically at a high level. And it was all for the dream of becoming a dentist because I witnessed my father be a dentist, and I felt like that was what I was supposed to do. One, because I loved the child that I had. I wanted my children to have that same childhood. It was a noble thing. My father worked his butt off. He's a great man. So there's nothing that he did wrong. There's nothing that my parents did wrong. I just chose this for the wrong reasons. And yet here I am at 27, 28, 29 thinking, is this all there is? And then at 30 years old, I discover men's work. And I start to learn what it feels like to be around other men, like real men. And I learn what it feels like to actually be able to feel my feelings and give my feelings like an expression, to be able to articulate them, right? And then to tap into those feelings and get curious about them. What are they asking me to learn, right? And as I dove into the feelings, I started to recognize how much doing was in my life and how little being was in my life, and how little I was actually expressing as me. So then I went on this journey of, well, who's Miles today versus who is actual Miles? And learning how to teach myself how to show up authentically in this world, to become the man that I was born to be, and to really just frankly become a man. There was still a lot of boy patterns in me, right? So I had to go through this boy to man transition, the individuation from the mother, right? That like in the Italian culture, like mom's a big deal, right? And mom's always a big deal, but in my home, mom said did, you know, what mom said goes, right? And I wanted to please her. I wanted to make sure her feelings were before mine, and that's not her fault. That's just how I was. I was the oldest of two, and I got that responsibility gene, right? So I had the urgency and the responsibility to want to make sure mom's okay. Mom's needs are met. That means everything in the house is okay. All right, so I have to go through this rewiring of stepping into being my own man. I'm married, I'm about to become a father. How do you become your own man, right? And a large part of that's authenticity. And you can't be authentic if you can't love yourself and trust yourself. So there was a large aspect of me needing to learn how to step into the fullness of me. I had to go back into my childhood and investigate, what are the things that I loved to do when I was younger? What do those things tell me about myself, right? I had to learn where my stories came from. Are they actually my stories, or are these limiting beliefs that I've adopted from other people that I'm allowing to control my life, right? Allowing myself to think beyond the box, right? To think outside of it, right? To create critical thinking. You know, COVID was this big awakening for me, this big spiritual awakening of like, oh, maybe getting the vaccine isn't the first thing I should do, even though as a dentist, it's the first thing I wanted to do, right? And learning how to stand out in a crowded field of people who are doing the same thing over and over and over in the dental world, how to be uniquely me and to shine in a different way, right? The way the sun is shining on my face right now. So stepping into who you are was one of the ingredients that helped me be standing here today. Learning how to live a vital, vibrant, and purpose-driven life are reasons why I am standing here today. Cultivating that inner life force energy, showing up in a vibrant way where people know when you walk in the room, they can feel you without you even having to say anything, and living with purpose, right? My purpose has largely been, as I was younger and got older, it was just to go become a dentist, and then to grow the business, and then to protect the family legacy. And those aren't wrong things. But I started to think beyond that. I started to think about impact. I started to think about influence. I started to think about the ripple that can be created from a man doing this work, from healing himself. The man who leads himself, rather, the man who leads his family leads himself first, right? I had to learn how to lead myself first. I had to become a man. So my story is a process of becoming a man, of becoming the real me, the true self, and allowing the false self to kind of fade away, right? And then bringing the perspective back that when the false self creeps in, I'm able to recognize that I have the awareness of it. I'm okay with that. And I can shed that, right? And it's a process of cleaning the lens, right? It might get gunked up, life happens, and then you just clean the lens. You clean the lens. And for me, now we've gone through this process where I'm showing up more powerfully than ever. And I was able to transition careers from dentist to men's coach because of the work that I did on myself. And yet now I'm going through another initiation where I'm here learning what it is that is required to go all in, right? I started this transition in careers when I still had the security of dentistry. I had the security of a paycheck. Now I don't. Now I'm learning what risk feels like. Now I'm learning what all in feels like. Now I'm learning about all the certainty that I felt that I had, and is it actually real or not, right? And you don't know until you try these things. And that's the scary piece. A lot of people are scared to change because they don't know what's on the other side of the change. They don't know what's going to happen when they change. Are their relationships going to be the same? Are they going to be feeling as much joy and happiness? Are they going to having a heightened experience of life? Or are they going to blow things up and actually be in more pain than ever? Yet will it lead to that Shangri-La experience, but you don't actually know, right? So there's a lot of fear that keeps people trapped, that allows them to say, you know, good enough is good enough, and they don't really want to step into that true taking of the leap. Yet the taking of the leap is a wheel, right? And there's a big aspect of needing to be able to navigate the in-between, where you have one foot in one world and one foot in the other, and nothing might really feel great, but you have a vision and you have clarity on where it is you want to go. So even if the financials can become a strain or a stress, you know exactly where you want to go. You have a strategy and you have a structure, and that's giving you a purpose to go ahead and move towards something, right? So a lot of my journey has been a rewiring and an unprogramming of all of the ways that I used to be, and now stepping into who I am. And becoming the new Miles, which is the more true Miles, is uncomfortable for my body because my body has 35 years of programming of being the false Miles, right? Of showing up in a way that the world knows me, and that's safe, it's secure, it keeps me comfortable. So it's a long way of saying that there were certain ingredients that helped me get to this point where I'm recording this video today in Sedona for you. I had to go through a lot of processes to allow 33-year-old Miles to sit in the discomfort of the pain that he felt when he was saying, am I really going to leave dentistry? Am I really going to leave my family? Am I actually going to not fulfill what I thought was my life's purpose, which is to take the business over and continue to help it prosper for 30 or 40 more years and just create a dental empire? Am I really going to give up on all of that to find out what something more actually means? Am I really going to step into all of the discomfort that comes with the risk to really just go ahead and find out what that means? And the answer was a wholehearted yes. I'm allowing my heart to lead. This is how we can become leaders, right? It's more about embodiment. It's more about people being able to feel and experience us on a whole level. So for me, this has been something that I've been wanting to share for a while is, you know, how did I get here, right? How is Miles actually standing in Sedona right now? And a large part of that is that I had to learn how to trust and have faith more than ever. I had to surrender to what it is that my body and my mind were asking for. I had to bring the two into phase. I had to get in alignment. Without being the authentic self, I could not cultivate the inner alignment that I needed to go ahead and have the courage to make a decision like this. Yet choosing alignment is something that is paramount. Many of us professionals do not know what choosing alignment actually is, because we end up in a position where we are taught to be a certain way, and then we need to give up a part of ourselves to actually fit into that mold, right? We have to show up as a doctor. You cannot show up as yourself, because yourself is not fully accepted, but the doctor is accepted, right? So then we put on a mask to go ahead and present a certain way, but can we actually just present as ourselves? Can we be the most authentic version of you? Right? And this entire process is just me becoming a more authentic version of me. And anyone I work with is to help them become a more authentic version of them. It's not to become me, it's to become them, right? It's to be who God made you to be. Bringing Christ and God back into your life and discovering the divinity that you possess outside of a sanctified church organization. You don't have to be in church to be able to experience God. God is already within you and around you all at the same time. So this journey of becoming and unbecoming is also the most spiritual journey you can go on, because it's something that can profoundly impact you. to depths that you've never experienced. And uprooting your life is one of the most spiritual experiences you can ever have, more so than just going to church every Sunday, because it's teaching you things about yourself you would never have to confront. This journey of becoming and unbecoming is the thing that is teaching me more than anything else in my entire life, more than going to the dental school for 4 years, more than going to residency, more than going to one of the best colleges in the country, more than going to one of the best high schools in my area. This singular moment is teaching me more about myself than anything else. That's just true. And now the true self is starting to come forward, and it creates an identity crisis because you don't know who you are anymore, and that's okay. But you're finding yourself in a new way. And in my case, I just had to go all in. Not everyone needs to go all in. If you were to work with me or the collective, like, it doesn't mean that you have to go all in. It just means that you go all in on you. It doesn't mean you go all in on changing careers and moving across country like I did, but you go all in on you. Right? And then you find out, you learn what you're going to discover. And for me, that's what this is all about. So thanks for joining me this morning on this Father's Day and just hearing some of my reflections. I'm going to keep more of these videos coming, and they'll be more structured in the future, but I just wanted to give a little bit of background on who I am and how I got here, a little bit of my story. And there's a lot to the story, and I'm sure I'll share more, but I want to make this relevant for you, right? So if you're in a point where you're questioning, I feel like I've got that inkling of like something more inside me, but I don't know how to take action on it. It starts really simple. It starts with getting curious. It starts with actually talking to other people who've done this before. And it starts with wanting to learn about who you are, right? And there are ways to learn more about who you are and to rewire all of the trauma and the conditioning that you may have received and to step into your fullness and into your power, right? A man is full of power and potential and purpose. If you're full of those three things, you're playing with house money, right? But yet many of us, we have unactualized potential. We don't actually achieve our fullest potential because we leave things on the table because of fear, because we get scared. So I'm here to help men get through the fear and to go ahead and step into the potential. So thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a great day whenever it is or wherever it is from which you're listening to this recording.